Hi, welcome to the third Global Burnout Awareness Week. I'm Carol Milters, I'm the organizer of the event, and I'm thrilled to be with you here. This event is taking place until January the 20th, next Friday, with live broadcast here on YouTube. We're hosting more than 20 panels in English and in Portuguese with specialists in the subject and people who have experienced and are going through burnout. The purpose of the Global Burnout Awareness Week is to promote trustworthy information about burnout, combating the stigma around it, in addition to informing the public of the known causes, consequences, and recovery strategies. The theme of this third edition is the struggle in the pursuit of dignity, addressing the social, organizational, and cultural dimensions of workers' health, taking into account medical, psychological, and labor factors. During our last edition in 21, we had more than 600 subscribers from panelists in 6 countries in English and Portuguese, and more than 20 hours of free content openly available to the general public. This is a nonprofit event, and the registration is free. We're grateful for the support of a nonprofit called Instituto Bem-Estar, which would translate to Wellbeing Institute, which is a Brazilian nonprofit organization that promotes mental health and is partnering with us in this event. We appreciate your support and presence with us. I would like to invite you all, before I call to the stage our amazing speaker of today, Dr. Michael Leiter. I want to invite you all for something that we've been doing all of the panels that we have conducted in Portuguese so far, which is to take 1 minute of conscious breathing, because we are everywhere and everything at the same time. And something that burnout teaches us is that we cannot do that. So let's first remain present here. I will invite you to first bring awareness to how you're sitting, the surface you're in, if it's your chair, bed, couch, wherever it is, just bring that awareness. And if you can, if you feel comfortable, just close your eyes for a few seconds. Take 1 deep breath, inhale through the nose. When you think you have inhaled enough, inhale a little bit more. Just fill your lungs with the air. And then breathe out from your mouth. Slowly and surely. And 1 more deep breath in through the nose. Deep breathing and out through the mouth. Notice how that tiny little practice brings your awareness to the here and now and regulates your stress. And I hope you enjoy and that you come out of this talk with more information, reliable information, and insights on how you can manage your relationship with work and how organizations can manage their relationship with work and how the worldwide culture of work can be transformed for the better. So I want to call here my dear Professor Michael Leiter. He's an adjunct professor at Acadia University in Canada, an honorary professor of organizational psychology at Deakin University in Australia, and has a PhD in psychology in Oregon. So I like a global panel speaker. I love that. I am from Brazil. I am in the Netherlands with a lot of people watching from everywhere in the world. So this feels really good. Professor Leiter has researched and written extensively on job burnout, including The Truth About Burnout and Banishing Burnout, and is the co-author of Christina Maslach and this new book, The Burnout Challenge, which is about managing people's relationship with work. He developed this core, strengthening a culture of respect and engagement intervention for improving civility and respect within work groups. And I already want to tell Professor Leiter that for next year, we're going to talk about workplace civility. I love the concept, and I already want to book you for next year just to dive into that. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. As I said before, we are taking a step back this year and trying to put everyone on the same page on After all we've been seeing and reading about burnout, and in the English language, I have the feeling that burnout is being used interchangeably as a replacement for feeling tired, frustrated, exhausted. And I have a Google alert for burnout news, and there's so many news and articles that I read, and I think this is not burnout. So let's start from the beginning. So welcome, Professor Leiter. What is and what is not burnout?
Oh, burnout. What the World Health Organization, which is a and one of them is exhaustion, like we have in the burnout. I feel tired in the morning at work, and to feel tired day of work begins is feeling tired at the end of the day. That's not really a problem so much. Replenish that energy before time in terms of your lifestyle, and much energy you've used. But feel self is not a problem. I do all kinds of things to get themselves tired. Really, often very healthy things that you're regularly, not here, but just a few times a week, you feel tired before the day begins of exhaustion. We're talking about the second piece is involvement with work. So, emotional connection to people, losing. I really love doing this kind of tolerated it, and just awful. So you just feel emotionally disconnected. Can piece of it, and then the third is just feeling discouraged, feeling like just that the work that doing lacks in that it's just not what exactly. So those are the things that it gets if it is tired, and what we found measure distinguish people who are just exhausted on one thing and they're okay in terms of the sense of accomplishment. You have those on one side, and you have the burnout syndrome, and it really is the people who are just tired of, and they want to have more out and recover and all of that. Burned out. They have a lot of other issues, but they're also they don't have enough. They don't have good relationships with others. They don't think they're getting rewarded. Things they really enjoy. They really treated. They think that the values really lost their way. They have a whole lot of issues that is down in their relationship with more far-reaching, deep kind of crime than being tired. Being tired is an issue you need to deal with, but it's not anywhere near problematic as extensive as burnout syndrome.
Amazing, thank you. I will share a little bit of what you said. I think your audio I think it's a bug from Restream, people who are watching, so we have some connectivity issues. Okay. So you mentioned that it's not only the exhaustion, it is further from the exhaustion. It also has to do with emotional involvement with work, and there's the emotional disconnection and the sense of accomplishment that it also has to do with your work being aligned with your values. And so you do have the 6 areas of mismatch that can predict if the workforce can be burned out or engaged. So you have the 2 sides of the spectrum, and I really suggest that everyone who's watching go read the book and read further, because obviously we cannot get into a lot of depth here in all of 6. So they are workload, control, rewards, community, fairness, and values. Which of them do you think is the most overlooked? Because I see a lot of, we tend to look a lot on the workload. So of which of these do you see that people are just missing the point?
Oh, wow. I think a whole lot of the attention on this thing, a lot on the community, because the, again, a breakdown in the relationship workplace, even are relationships with people, how with a hospital, the kinds of things that people are, they do admit we're working very hard, but they think they're supposed to working hard. It's a kind of job at a difficult time. I really get irritated about our relationships with their colleagues. If they're working, they think some people aren't really as they should be. Some people are being respectful towards me. Much more towards burnout than work that they're doing. If they have their boss with their managers playing favorites, they have other people they like better that they're giving a move than me. That have, which is a children's hospital patients are shouting, like, which parents do, but it's very difficult to be standing work you can do and having somebody getting aggressive towards you. The things, the relation that in terms of social, and I'm looking at that. Can we start with that improve the quality of the social encounters that people have at a root? Is that a reducing their vulnerability?
This is amazing. Yes. And I can testify to that as well, as someone who has experienced it and have been talking to people and listening to people. I love how you put it, that burnout is the result of a breakdown in the relationship with the workplace. And my next question has to do with how can we, considering that you have written that burnout is a social phenomenon and not an individual weakness. And a lot of the theme that we have been talking about throughout this week is that people who go through a burnout, they usually feel guilt, they feel weak, they feel like they are not made for the real working world. And the organization, on the other hand, feels like the person who has gone through a burnout is going through a burnout. They are a machine with a defect, so they need to be fixed and then brought back. In a lot of countries, in a lot of places, we still have this mindset. So how would you advise us here to engage leaders in this challenge of burnouts, when the common discourse is that it is an individual problem?
Well, I guess how is that interpreted as they say, this is real, and the deepest sense that kinds of things that are driving people. That's what we talk about. The really parts of the management, workload and rewards and values. Like, these are all kind of managers are in charge of, and basically of them are saying, well, you're supervising mental health, and I'm not really sure about that. Professionals, a lot of managers I've known who are very knowledgeable or have a feeling for people's mental health or distress know about is management. But anyway, hopefully they have some management. And this is where I hear them and say, well, this is what you know. What can you do in terms of the idea that not everybody is exact. Some people over here, Claude, or some people over here think that doesn't mean everybody does. It does mean, and that the is to be able to develop inclusive of people with various else. I mean, they need to be competent. They need to really contributing. But people do. That's really what. How can you develop workplaces that people with different lifestyles, different learning, just interacting?
Yeah. Do you believe, or I don't know if it's do you believe, or maybe you have seen that happen in the research, that a company that has a vast history of burning people out can change?
Yeah, it's definitely taking change. However, and for a lot of organizations, is that it's something fundamental about, and often it's just let's start a workplace health journey thing about how we're distressing them so that they can relax, recover basically from our. You go, well, that you've got to have confident leaders who think change how the work is done. We're going to get the work to be, effective, or change the way we're doing it so that stress. Now, some of the stuff that we've definitely improvements on, working on the work group level, so we do on the whole organizational, that gets into people's sense of control over their work, learning issues about fairness and how to. But then the life, that's also it developed the strengthening a culture of engagement. So that is really with work groups. So we go into work stress, some with the super individuals or even different group that are at odds, treating each other necessarily, like you all ideas, the way roles rise and shape, reacting this, and working with the group and saying, we need, how are we going to work past, be a group that supports each other? Aren't you going to gain from that? Can we agree, get over some of these little and actually work together? And something, it's not working and fixing people, we're going to make them all better. No, it's relationships. We're going to reflect about those. We're going to try different ways with each other. We're going to try different ways. Like just little things like that for a week. Like how many people and who did you say good morning? How many people? Can you just include a few more people greeting in the morning? If you do that, that starts changing your dynamic kind of. But we do that and build that into their way of.
Yes. It's amazing to listen to you. Although we do have a little bit of problem, but we can understand what is necessary, what is essential, which is what matters. And I believe that when we get the recording, we can get a seamless recording. But anyway, I love the there's proof and there's arguments and there's science and there's to say that burnout is not an I problem, it's a we problem. And what you've said, how much of the stress that we're managing is really necessary, right? So are we creating this stress that we're just managing with therapy and the benefits and everything? So how can we take this step back and think, how can we make this a less stressful environment in the first place? Yes.
Yeah, that's organization like that may be necessary for a manager to take. As we say in the book, you change everything all at once. Start small. You look for some easy. You're really collaborating with the patient. That isn't for the manager to make everything better. Dialogue, so that the collaboration on and they can do some really big problem solving. There are that you can take out of a box, and really each place really has, and it's not a one-time fix life. And so I see some people have asked, we don't have a burnout came out in Brazil 20 years ago. Which is coming out in Italian, but I'm hoping some Brazil or Portugal that challenge. For us, that would be great. Yeah.
This was actually one of the questions. If you knew about a Portuguese edition, and I can help. we can discuss it, but
Chinese, but that's not going to help. Going to help your listeners.
No,
that all gets talking to each other. So we're translations come about. Yeah.
I want to ask you. I would want to ask you so many things, but for now, I also want to ask you personally. How do you keep your relationship with work, and how do you keep going, researching something that can be difficult? I have been reading and studying and interacting with people about burnout for 5-6 years. And I have seen so many people coming and going, getting really excited about it and saying, I'm going to fix it. And then they do it for a year and then they get frustrated and then they realize they cannot change the world, which is like, big surprise. So how do you keep going?
Keep going. Things. I mean, basically, my been as a professor at university, and that's a kind of, you know what you're really interested in, then you have latitude. You have a lot of freedom to fit in. And I think that's that's a very valuable part, that kind of control things. So and about burnout, I find this very interesting as a sort of this X, and people's mean who they are and what's their relationship with work, but their whole relationship. And these fundamental, that one interesting. There's a lot of depth here to follow. I have no expectation that evolved soon. I have no fundamental to how people are doing. Really a long for me, for my research career, it was a good thing. If you have probably got to come up with a whole new thing to, oh, this is, nobody's going to solve this, working on this until we do. I find that really, I'm working with organizations now that are insightful and more about doing something about burnout. I find it's very valuable, interest going. So I'm happy with small. I think that's what will value over time.
Amazing, thank you. Before I go to the last question, I want to just read a passage of the end of the book that says, in a work world where productivity is the most important thing, we are proposing that human fulfillment should also be an important thing. And my question is, because the theme of the Awareness Week this year is the struggle in the pursuit of dignity. So what does dignity in the relationship with work mean to you?
Well, dignity means that fact of each person, you don't have, there's that's awarded people because they don't have to earn it or whatever. But that thing that each individual sort of continually, like with people, people are monitoring. Are they paying attention to me? Are they not? Are they equal, or are they got on? And I think that is depends upon that. Human entities, they survive as and that happens for whether you're in other people, and what's standing with others is essential. It's something that it is, I think, much more attending to, sure, I'm being respected, but are not. I've got to make sure I'm showing respect too. And I think that is both colleagues, people talking to work, but also it's essential managers, which really, really good at that, and some not so good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again. I could use all of your day, and I might one day, but not today. Thank you for whoever is watching in the live streaming, in the recording. Our next panel in English is going to be tomorrow with Matt Vidi and Yerbo. We're going to talk about the topic is Burnout Explained. We're going to talk also about how it interchanges with what is the role of the leadership. I'm going to talk a little bit about the burnout shops, which is an idea that Maslow and Leiter has proposed in the beginning of a few years ago, and it opens this book. Please do get this book. Follow Michael Leiter, and I will be doing a lot of translations. I already translate a lot of your work for the Portuguese speaking audiences, but I do appreciate it's a historical moment for this event. It's the third year, and we hope to be here. We hope to do things in a sustainable way that we can be here for many years to come, and that this is only your first of many enrollments here. And it is really meaningful. You and Professor Maslach, the work of the two of you and the work of Professor Jerry Puleo, who's going to speak on Friday, are mainly the people who have studied and seen burnout in a way, in a light that have motivated me when I was desperate and lost and didn't know what to do. That gave me a light at the end of the tunnel of, okay, the problem is not with me. There's something else here, and it's worth investigating. And maybe it's even, in a way, fun investigating, because it's an amazing work. So I appreciate all of your work, all of your research, and your presence here. with us as well. And you can be sure that people who are watching are also really appreciating this. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wish you had a fine day. So.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next panel.